Value Impulses with Dr. Ulrich Vogel. Personal diagnostics insights, leadership assessments, and personnel development.
A warm welcome, dear listeners, to today's episode of Value Impulses. Yes, Christmas is fast approaching, and that's why today's episode is titled, Why Christmas Can Also Be an Investment in 2025 for You. Yes, so investment is a term that's used a lot, especially in politics lately. Infrastructure and defense and what all that means. I like to look at the etymology, so the linguistic origin. It comes from the Latin investire, which means to clothe in or to dress in. So originally, it means or describes clothing or surrounding something. Yeah, and, I put it this way, first you have a goal, and to reach it, you have to invest something. And you could actually say that this goal is basically naked at first, and then you have to dress it up, so to speak, to make it presentable for the future. So the basic idea behind it is clear. Investing means that you consciously use your resources to gain a benefit or added value in the future. And yes, there are all kinds of investments, the financial ones. We know those, we hear about them every day, whether we're talking about stocks, real estate, life insurance, or whatever else. But there are also completely different kinds of investments. Let's look at time investments, for example, volunteering. There, too, you're providing value for others, investing in others, giving your own time, but also, yes, your own happiness, because it contributes to a fulfilling life. Or raising children, yeah. With children, with the long period of time you have as parents, and I can tell you, raising kids is not a wellness retreat. The goal is to help your kids become responsible individuals, that's how I put it, so that they too can lead a fulfilling life. So, in that sense, family time is also something that contributes to this. Then, of course, we're all familiar with educational investments. Everyone knows what that means. School, obviously, training, university, and professional development. Robert S. Hartman, the founder of formal value science, always said that continuing education or personal development through further training isn't a luxury, but rather something we need in order to advance the three aspects of being human: the intrinsic, the human element within us, the practical element in our roles, and, if you will, the systemic element, our mind, our life plan. Yes, so education is also a category of investment. But we also have cultural investments, right? Like going to the theater or visiting museums, or getting involved in cultural activities. That is an area that frequently tends to be overlooked and neglected, but it significantly broadens and deeply enriches your personal horizons, and in doing so, provides meaningful benefits to not just yourself but also to society as a whole. That leads us right into the category of social investments, which benefit me but also others, meaning maintaining friendships, building and deepening networks. And, by the way, that's actually one of the 5. Maybe you've heard of Bronnie Ware, the Australian author who worked in hospices and systematically asked people, before they died, what they regretted most, the 5 regrets. And maintaining friendships, realizing you haven't done enough of that in your life, is a really, really important point. And now, maybe just to round things off a bit, I've noted down health investments, prevention, exercise, healthy eating. Yeah, so, mens sana in corpore sano. As the Latin saying goes, a healthy mind lives in a healthy body. But now let's focus especially on investing in people and not, in finances or building something up, like a company or something similar. And what's special is, if we now consider people as a kind of resource, but please, in quotation marks, then that resource is inexhaustible and growing, right? While other resources wear out with use, like machines, for example, or even finances, which get discounted and are then gone, you, as a person, constantly or steadily gain in quality through growth. Yeah, so there's basically an increase in quality through use, right? Through learning processes, reflection, and creativity. That then promotes your personal development. If we look at AI now, we can see that, in some ways, it actually goes in a similar direction because, well, machine learning and so on, if I use the term, also heads in that direction. But if we stick with humans for now, then we can say that these are unlimited potentials that we can, so to speak, invest in and work on. So, unlike material resources, there are no fixed limits for you, right? Your possibilities for growth are endless, because it's about the meaning you give to all of this. Yeah, Hartman once said that the universe might be huge, but, the wealth of a person, the intellectual, the intrinsic, the meaningful wealth of a single person, can far exceed, so to speak, the size of the universe. So this boundlessness, of the human mind here, of the ability to create meaning, I think it's important to mention that. Alright, now I'll talk about the ways you can invest in yourself. We often tend to neglect that. So this year, I was finally smart enough to actually invest a bit in myself too. I booked 2 professional development courses and also got myself a consultant elsewhere, so I can call that a kind of further training as well. Yeah, we all know the classic options: seminars, online courses, or maybe you get a mentor or have one that you maintain a relationship with, or vice versa, someone who supports you. I've already mentioned health and fitness, sports, but also mindfulness training and mental health. Recently, I also did an episode with Werner Katzengruber, who wrote a really, really good book called Mental Health, which I highly recommend. But also, character, education, and values development is a form of investing in yourself, Engaging with philosophy, with ethics, and with how to live your life, Maybe sometimes we brush that off a bit and set it aside. I think that this area, of philosophy, ethics, and how to live your life has actually been pushed a bit to the sidelines these days. And that honestly hurts me the most. I actually study political science as well, and political philosophy is one of the main subjects there. I'm really glad that I did that back then, because it still gives me the impulse to look at things from a philosophical perspective, whether it's things that happen every day, at work, in society, in the family, or wherever. And then, of course, there's the area of life that includes leisure and hobbies. I once described this in my book using the metaphor of the life car with its 4 tires. The deepest, closest one is, of course, family and partnership, then the work tire, then social integration, but also the tire for leisure and hobbies, special interests, to make sure you have time for creative balance and to pursue personal passions. I just mentioned social integration as well. And I think, in that context, volunteering is also something we could definitely include. But now, let's get into the topic of making decisions to invest in ourselves, So, we often do this quite intuitively, either that or we have a very specific need. You know what I mean. I have to do project management now, and for that, I need to take a course. Just a few days ago, I signed up for a course with Dr. Marcus Blaschke, a video course that gets me into it. So, those are the kinds of things you do in a very concrete way. Sometimes it's just a gut feeling or comes from a specific, concrete need. But I believe you should also back that up with solid diagnostics, supported analytically. And of course, tools and instruments like profiling values create transparency, not just about your strengths, but also about areas for development and potential, right? And when you have that kind of transparent view, you can recognize needs a bit better, basically, with facts and figures, and also with the gut feeling you have about it. And once you've worked out these needs for yourself, it's just more comprehensive. And then you can set goals accordingly, which, of course, can only be achieved through change. And, gaining a deeper understanding of exactly how change works and happens can also be made significantly more apparent and clearer to you through increased transparency and self-awareness about your own unique abilities, potential, and natural personal inclinations. And I always say, please have a bit of patience. Investing in yourself takes time and also careful planning. So, seeing diagnostics as the key, that transparency is created about yourself so you gain clarity. Where do you actually want to go? So that you connect your intuition with the data, so to speak, and then make well-thought-out decisions. And now let's take a look at why Christmas. I mentioned that in the title as well. If I look at the etymology of Christmas, it actually means consecrated night. So, and traditionally for us, it's a moment to pause, and also to reflect. So, regardless of whether you connect it to Christianity or not, it really creates a break, yeah, and Christmas gives you a chance to slow down, yeah, and to think about what will truly matter to you in the coming year, yeah. And that's where you can really encourage self-reflection and, the time between the years invites you to reconsider old patterns and plan new paths. Yeah, or maybe you do it even before Christmas, yeah, make your decisions and then use the time, between the years, yeah. And these days, there are really modern ways to continue your education between, the years. It's often the case, especially if you're in provinces where Epiphany is also on January 6th, that you end up with, sometimes 2.5, or almost 3 weeks, where you're in this period between the years, and the economy often slows down quite a bit. And there's a lot you can do during that time, especially now with online, offerings. There are all sorts of things, video courses, tutorials, that you can now easily do from home. And of course, inspiring literature as well. Books are always a good option, anyway. But maybe it's also a good time for confidential conversations, so you can use the chance to connect with family and friends to gain new perspectives and let yourself be inspired as well. And not entirely selflessly, for those listeners who aren't yet certified with us, who aren't certified profiling values practitioners, it might also be worth considering investing in certification with profiling values so you can competently use this diagnostic tool. That's something that could really move you forward in 2025. Whether you're a coach, a consultant, a trainer, someone working in HR, or a manager. So, let me just make a quick pitch here. But overall, when I look at it again, why Christmas could also be an investment in 2025 for you, my suggestion to you is to use the pre-Christmas season to reflect, to look at numbers, data, and facts, but also to trust your intuition, to set goals for yourself. So, first you sense and analyze your needs, set your goals, and then invest in yourself. Yes. And we keep getting stronger and higher in quality when we make use of ourselves. Of course, age will eventually set some limits for us, but at least during our working lives, and even long after, we can continue to grow personally. Do it. Yes. Go for it. Invest in yourself. Use Christmas as a time to reflect on that. Thank you for sticking with us right to the end. I'd love to hear your feedback, and I hope you'll join us again for the next episodes. Take care and bye for now.